We say things like, I feel like you're not listening to me, or I feel like this relationship isn't working. I don't think you love me, or I don't think you want to come home so you can spend more time with me. But none of these statements are feelings. They're thoughts or judgments or interpretations that we are disguising as our emotions. And this tiny misunderstanding is one of the biggest reasons communication breaks down. Hi, I'm Madalena, and this is You Reclaimed. Around here, we talk a lot about how to take our lives back from emotional chaos and trauma patterns so that we can build healthier relationships and actually feel like ourselves again. Wait, did you subscribe yet? I have a lot more to share and I'd love to have you here for it. It really helps my channel grow and I appreciate it so much. Stick around to the end of this one because I'm going to show you how to recognize your real emotions even when your mind is trying to protect you from them, and why this small step is the most crucial thing you can do to take your communication skills to the next level and really connect with your partner. So why does this distinction even matter? Are we just wasting our time trying to tell what's a feeling and what's a thought? What's the point of it? It matters because clarity is what leads to deeper connection, and it makes all the difference in whether we understand what the other person is feeling and what they need from us. If you're not clear on whether you're expressing a thought or a feeling, then the person you're talking to can't connect with you on an emotional level, and that's how we really understand each other. And so the things that come out of your mouth end up sounding like judgments or accusations or criticisms, and the other person will feel judged and accused, even if that's not what you meant or if it wasn't your original intention at all. So your partner, instead of being receptive and collaborating with you to find a solution to whatever problem you're trying to resolve, will now get defensive or shut down entirely or miss what you were trying to say in the first place. And it's because when you're expressing your emotions and your needs through the filter of your thinking mind, your point is not coming across clearly. And it's certainly not coming across in a way that will get you where you want to go, which is towards an emotional connection. What gets you there is expressing the real feeling or the need underneath it. Okay, so what is the difference? A thought is a story that we construct. It's a belief perhaps, or an interpretation, or an observation that we've made about something that's happening. It's a feeling that has passed through the lens of our thinking, rational mind, and it's now being expressed as something else, a little bit like broken telephone. And when we express our feelings in this way, they sound something like, I feel like you don't care about me, or I think that this is your fault. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. At the root of these statements, there's a real feeling. But once it's been filtered through your thoughts and turned into a judgment, a story, or a conclusion of some sort, it's not a feeling anymore. Now it's your brain's version of what the feeling is supposed to sound like. And the other person has trouble connecting to it because once it's been filtered through your mind, it loses the soft, vulnerable quality that makes feelings feelings. That makes feelings what connects us to other people. A feeling, on the other hand, is raw. It lives in the body at the somatic level. It rests in your nervous system. And if you try to identify a feeling by sitting with your eyes closed, you'll likely feel that feeling somewhere in your body. A real feeling sounds something like this. I feel hurt. I feel lonely. I feel afraid. I feel ashamed. You don't think those, you feel them down to the level of your nervous system. You feel them in your body, while thoughts live up in your head, in your thinking mind. But why do we mistake our thoughts for feelings? And why do we want to hide our real emotions from our partners, let's say, and from ourselves, even when we're not doing it consciously? Well, the simple truth is that it's much easier to say, I feel like you're selfish, than it is to say, I feel alone and unimportant. Because if the problem is that you're selfish, then I get to stay protected. I put the onus on you and I make the whole problem your responsibility. You need to do better. You need to think more about me. You need to fix something so that I feel differently. But if I say I feel unimportant, then that leaves me exposed. Now I'm letting you see that small, soft part of me, the part of me that's really the young and vulnerable part of me, and that part perhaps doesn't feel worthy of your attention or of anyone's attention. That's the part of me that can be rejected and hurt. If you're being selfish, that doesn't have anything to do with me being rejected. But that little part of me, that's the part of me that wants to feel loved and prioritized and safe. And that's terrifying to me if I've never expressed my emotions in this way, or if I've never seen other people close to me express their emotions in this way and have positive results come from it, right? That's important. It helps if I've seen other people express themselves in this way and live to tell the tale. At least I know it ends well. But we don't just turn our feelings into thoughts to be dramatic. We do it because it feels much safer. We take our real feelings and our real needs out of our bodies and we bring them up to our thinking mind and we expose them out there as thoughts because it's much easier to be angry out there, externalized, than it is to feel ashamed or lonely in here, physically, in our own bodies. Because we do feel that physically. We feel anger too, but when we push the anger out towards someone else, we bring it out of our bodies somewhat. And it's much easier to point the finger out there, over there, than to admit that we are lonely or hurt or unloved. It feels easier to say, you always ignore me, than to say, I don't feel like I matter to you. That's real vulnerability. We have to take a second and allow ourselves to feel that. To feel ourselves exposed in that way. And most of us were never shown how to do that safely. We didn't grow up hearing adults say their real feelings out loud. Most of us didn't even get modeled the language for fear and shame and disappointment or real longing. We heard thoughts and judgments and accusations, and so we model after what we saw. So now, as adults, even when we do see someone express their real fears and their real vulnerabilities, their real needs, it jars us. It feels uncomfortable because it pulls us out of our thinking mind, the part of us that can be detached, and back down into our bodies where we feel something much more real, and that can be very uncomfortable. And what does this look like in close relationships? Let's say that your partner leaves the house without telling you, and your first instinct is to say, I feel like you don't care about me. You've made a judgment. You've taken a raw and vulnerable feeling and you've quickly processed it and turned it into a thought. But it's a thought that pushes the other person away. It doesn't make the other person connect to you because now it comes across as an accusation. Try this instead. When you left without saying anything, I felt hurt and unimportant. That's a real feeling. And it speaks to a real need. I need you to care about me enough to tell me when you're leaving the house. I need to feel important to you. That's something the other person can connect to. When you say, I feel like you don't care about me, there's nothing for the other person to connect to. The only thing they can do is be defensive. Because what you're doing is you're making a statement about the other person's behavior, right? You're taking your own feelings and you're making it into a declaration, into something that says something about the other person's behavior. It says nothing about what you need, but bringing it back down to the feeling level gives the other person a chance to meet you emotionally from the heart. If you're still not sure what you're feeling, here's a simple practice you can try. Ask yourself, where in my body does this feeling live? Because you'll notice that it's not possible to feel a judgment in your body. Try it. Say out loud, I feel like you never care what I think. Nothing. There's nothing to feel. Now try, I feel unheard. I feel unimportant. That feels different. That feels like something. It feels like it belongs somewhere in your chest or in your gut or in your throat. Those are real emotions. That's your nervous system talking. And that's how you begin to tell the truth of your real needs. Try using just one word for each feeling. Hurt, lonely, embarrassed, ashamed, disappointed. That's how you begin to let another person into your inner world and have real conversations with them. And that's also how you begin to feel seen and known. And perhaps that's the best part of all of it. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what's one I feel like statement that you routinely make to express one of your real feelings underneath. And if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing so we can keep talking about these things together.